So Spencer, if this offense is not exceptional, they're going to put up yards and points at
Yep.
some rate in the top 10 or 15 in the nation, but we expect even better than that. So if they don't turn out to be exceptional, is that because they ran into a better defensive league, or a combination? Aside from injuries, the injury bug can wreck anybody's season. That it's that, and or that the offensive line, despite these high rankings leading into this season, did have a lot of turnover, key players leaving, that the offensive line isn't quite ready to take on the best of the Big Ten.
I think it would be. I think it's more likely to be that they're going up against better defenses, but also teams with a different play style. Think about Oregon matchups with Stanford over the years, or really back in the 2010s. So in 2012, one of the most unfortunate losses in Oregon football history that cost them a chance to play for a national championship was at home against Stanford. Final score of that game, 17-14. And that offense had Marcus Mariota, had DeAnthony Thomas, had Kenyon Barner, and it was Chip Kelly at his peak as the head coach and play caller. And what was one of the ways that you slowed down that Oregon offense? Took the air out of the ball on your side. And I think you look at a lot of teams in the Big Ten, you don't have dynamic quarterback play. I think of the Power Four conferences, the Big Ten is the weakest at quarterback, and I don't know that it's particularly close. You have got so many questions. Yeah, there are talented young guys like Dylan Raiola at Nebraska, or Drew Aller at Penn State, who I think is better than people give him credit for. But the other Power Four leagues go 7, 8 deep at quarterback, where you say, oh, those are above average guys. You go up and down the Big Ten, you're like, okay, Dylan Gabriel is above average, and Will Howard, he's maybe slightly above average at Ohio State. I don't know who's starting for Michigan, so I don't know what he can bring to the table, since I don't know who he is. It's probably Alex Orji, I think. Maybe. I don't know. They don't know either. They haven't said anything. And Dylan Raiola, I think, can be good at Nebraska. Hasn't actually taken a snap in a college football game yet. Drew Aller at Penn State is good. And then you just go down the list. You're like, well, Miller Moss played one game while at USC. Ethan Garber's at UCLA, pretty average. Will Rogers at Washington, frankly, is probably higher on the list than people realize, because he's just experienced and good. So I think you're going to have more teams that want to run the football, that want to take the air out of it, that want to, kill the clock and keep the Oregon offense on the sideline. But if you can't move the ball in Oregon's defense, which I think is going to be a challenge for a lot of these teams that are offensively challenged in the Big Ten, it's going to result in a lot of games that, we've seen over the years with Michigan, Ohio State, when they play middle to bottom tier teams in the Big Ten, where you look up, you're like, oh, wow, it's 49-10. Like, if your defense, no matter how good it is on the field all the time, you're going to get tired. I think that happened to Oregon in the Pac-12 championship game. I think their offense's inability to get a first down on either of its first two possessions killed the defense, because they're, working and getting off the field, and then the offense goes 3 and out twice. Like, that impacts the defense's ability to play at a high level. So, yeah, I think they're going to go up against better defenses. I don't think their quarterback play is going to be quite as good, though it'll still be above average and probably the best in the Big Ten. I think, last year Oregon averaged about 44.5 points a game, 530 yards. This year it'll probably be like 38 points a game and 480 yards, and that's more than enough.
And maybe one of the more intriguing road tasks for Oregon goes into the category of what you're talking about when they go to Camp Randall Stadium, take on a Tyler Van Dyke team where he's a complete wild card.
Yeah, it's like,
who knows what he's going to bring to the table. If it's 2021, then he's a top quarterback, but most likely they've got a lot of issues to fix with him.